A very good morning to everyone. Let's get started with the session now. So, once again, I welcome you all to the day 3 of Zoho Creator training for developers. Right. So, at this point, for the past couple of days, we've been discussing about a lot of factors in Deluge, starting from the basics, which includes variables, data types, etc. And then we were talking about map data type, and then we moved on to some advanced concepts like the conditions, and we've also discussed about the fetch concepts and more with the subforms and how we can use Deluge to make the pages dynamic with HTML and ZML. So we know a bit about Deluge now, right? So now in this session, today in this session, we'll be discussing, we'll start off the day with integrations, right? Like extending Zoho applications with Creator or even other applications, right? So I just hope I'm still audible and my screen is still visible. Yeah. Yeah. So extending Zoho apps with Creator and using integration. Okay. So why, first of all, we integrate and how do we integrate here? So we integrate because apps, these apps that we build in Creator, they just simply can't be some disconnected silos, right? We want to put it together in use, right? So let's say there's an organization and that can have some different apps. Okay, for example, sales or support, marketing, accounting, etc. Right? At some point, we might want to put all of them together. We might want to collaborate these apps, and that's when we use Zoho Create. Right? So not just for this. During with integration, this is the main purpose. We know a creator is huge and it can be used for various other purposes. But in this specific session, we'll be talking about integrations. Okay, so you can either bring the data to Zoho Creator by integrating with other services. You can either bring in data to Creator, or you can create a form and push the data to other services as well. Ideally, to perform some collaboration with other services, right? So how do we achieve this kind of collaborations or integration? So we have three ways to achieve. One is via integration field, and there's another concept called integration form, and we have one more called integration tasks. Okay, so let's just go ahead and see one by one. Okay, so here, starting with integration field. So this is a special field. This is one of the special field that's part of your forms. So let me just show that to you as well. So I'll just quickly show you any form. Like for example, this form, this is the application we've been building all this while, right? So if I just edit this form, so inside the form builder page, we have a list of fields towards the left side, right? So there we have 5 different field categories, and we have a special field category, and you can find the integration field from here. Okay, so this is where you can find the integration field. So you can put this to a lot of good use. So with this integration field, we can establish connection between any other app and creator application, and we can go ahead and fetch data from there and have it within our application. So this integration field will be like a lookup field inside your form, right? So that's what it says here. So lookup data that is stored in an external service. And this is a screenshot of 2 services and how we are integrating them. So we have Zoho CRM at the top left and Creator at the bottom left, right? Bottom right. So here, what we using this integration field, we've fetched the account name, right? So the account names here, using this integration field, we've fetched all the account names, and we are making that, we're using that inside one of our creators form. So again, in this screenshot, we have fetched some other information like the address information, like billing streets, street, city, and state. Those information have been fetched using this integration. Not just the name or address. There are a lot more to it, which you can definitely go ahead and explore. Okay, so let's just directly get into a demo and see how this can be achieved. So here we're already inside this edit mode of this application. So let's just use the same order form that we've been using, right? This is the order form that we have, the order form that we've built, right? So let's just use this order form and let's see how we can bring in the integration field here. Okay, so here is integration field. I'll drag and drop it here. Okay, so as soon as I've dragged and dropped this field, it is asking me to which other application or the third-party application that I want to integrate with. Okay, so in this instance, let's go ahead and choose CRM. So let me show the CRM also before we could do it. So here is CRM. Just bear with me. Yep. So CRM looks something like this. The only thing is you, for whichever service that you are trying to integrate with, just make sure that you have subscribed to that service. That's it. So these are the list of modules that's available within CRM, and you can go ahead and integrate with any of this, right? So now let's say I thought it would be a good idea to take the contacts module. So let's go ahead and do something with this contacts module. Okay. So here I'm choosing Zoho CRM. Yeah. So once I've choose Zoho CRM, it is asking me to choose the data source. Here, the data source is nothing but the list of modules available here. From which modules do I want to fetch information from here and use it in Creator, right? So I already have connected contacts module here. So it is just showing me the connected integrations, the connected modules. If I want to make a new connection, I'll click on plus. I'll choose Zoho CRM, and here I'll choose the module for which I want to make the connection. Let's say, for example, I have this accounts module, right? So let's say I'll choose accounts. Yeah, I'll choose accounts and I'll name this data source. So this naming is for you to understand from Creator when you access it from Creator. So let's say I'm just naming this as accounts. And if I create, I believe you already have a connection for accounts also, but I'll just show you how to do it. So once I click on create, here, yeah, we already have one with accounts also. So once you click on create here, it'll ideally get created, and that will get displayed as one more option inside this particular um, drop down, right? So for now, I'll choose the CRM contacts from here. And yeah, it instantly tells me that the module is contacts, and I can choose a field from here. So here the field is going to be we are in the contacts module, and if I try creating a contact, this has the list of all fields available inside this module, so I can choose any one from here. The field that listed here is the same fields from here as well, right? So let's just go ahead and choose the first name from here. So I'll say done, and I'll name this as CRM contact. I'll be done with it. Let's access this in live. So now we have a new field introduced as CRM contact. And if I click the drop down, I have all the first names. So we just integrated, right? So with this integration, we've just fetched all the first names from CRM directly. So for example, Matthew, Stella, Emma, Josephine, Kapla, James, etc. So all these people are available here, right? Kapla, yeah. So we've just fetched this information. Let's say I want to add more field to it, like not just the first name. I also want the last name, or I can go ahead and add more fields to it. I'll show you how that can also be done. Just bear with me. Just getting loaded. Yeah. So I go back to the edit mode of this application, and I go back to the same field. And here I have something called display fields. So here I have an option to add more fields. And in the drop down, you will see all the fields that are available in the CRM contact creation. So I'll choose last name from here. Yep, last name. And I can go ahead and choose another field also, right? I'll choose email. And all of this will get displayed in the drop down. So let's see how that looks like. Just saved it. So it's just always a good practice to keep two tabs open, one for the edit mode and one to access everything in live. So, you can just quickly juggle between these two whenever you're making some changes. Yeah. So, yeah. So now if I refresh and if I go back here, so previously we only had first name. Now we have first name, last name, and email. And on top of it, you can also go ahead and search from here. If I want to search some person, I can go ahead and do that here as well, right? So this is pretty much how you can put integration field into use. So don't just limit yourself just to the first name, last name, just to the contact module. Just go ahead and explore with the other modules as well, also with the other services as long as you have subscription to the other services, right? Uh, so there's one more thing. Now that we've established this, and there is a place where I can see all the integrations that I've established. So I just go to the, I just want to go back to the dashboard of Zoho Creator here. And to the left side, you see something called microservices, right? So here you will see the data sources. So this is going to show you the list of data sources that you've integrated with, all of these data sources. So we've just done that with we did the integration with CRM contacts, right? And there are already some integration happened, like for deals, for leads. So you can see this is like a dashboard for all your integrations, not just for CRM, even for books or even for any other third-party applications, right? You can go ahead and create a new from here as well, right? So this is pretty much what you can do with your integration field, right? So next comes, let's go back to the presentation. Next we have is integration forms. So here with integration forms, this is when you have some information in Creator and you want to push this data to the other Zoho applications or other third-party applications, right? So the data that you submit through these forms in Creator, it gets directly added to the selected service. In this instance, it's Zoho CRM, right? So this is an example again, a screenshot where here to the top left, we have this form and we are trying to like push it to the Zoho Creator. Here it is actually highlighting one information. So that information is the mandatory fields, right? So let's say so whenever you are working on integration forms, there's something that you need to keep in mind before you get your hands on it. Okay, so that is going to be the mandatory fields. Okay, so we are making integration between two services, and there'll be mandatory. The mandatory field should be in sync with both these fields, with both these services. Otherwise, the integration would not be successful. So here, if you see in Zoho Recruit, you see something. These two fields are underlined in red, right? Highlighted in red. Posting title and department name. So let's say the posting title here is a mandatory field. So if I create a form, I have to ensure that I have this particular field inside my form in Creator. So that's when as the connection will be, the data source or the integration will be successful. So this is a key point to make a note of. Okay, so just keep in mind, and then I'll show you how we can put it to use in the demonstration. So let's just directly jump into the demonstration. So here I'll go ahead and create a new form. Right? So I'll get back to the edit mode of this application. So the top left, I have this plus button. I click on that, and I'll go ahead and create a new form. So again, again, you know, there are different ways of creating form. You can either build one from scratch, or you can build one with importing your data, or choose from a template, or you can do this integrated data sources. So this is what we're going to do now. So here I'm going to be choosing Zoho CRM again, and as soon as I've clicked it, it is showing me for the modules that I've already integrated with, the data sources that I've already added. So you can similarly with the integration field, you know, when we want to add a new data source, we can go ahead and perform the same step here. So once I clicked, the same pop-up will open, which is similar to what we did in integration field. So you can add more modules, and you can go ahead and add more modules to your application as well, right? So let's just go ahead and choose the same one, CRM contact, and I'll go ahead and name this form as, let's call this as CRM contact form. Okay, so I'll create, and I'm inside this form. So here, by default, this is exactly what I meant. What I mean when I was showing you this screenshot of the mandatory fields, right? So here, by default, as soon as I've created a form, there is a mandatory field there. It simply means that this field is mandatory in CRM also. And to the left, all the fields that you see here are the fields that are available in CRM, right? So if I create a contact here, so you see this last name is checked, is marked in red. So this simply means it's a mandatory field, and that is what is picked here, right? Now I can go ahead and drag and drop the other fields and I can create this form. So let's say we have last name, let's do first name, and let's do the phone, or sorry, let's do mobile, and let's also do the email. Let's also choose email, right? Yep. So first name, last name, mobile, and email. So I'll say done, and I'll access this form in live, CRM contact form. Yep, CRM contact form. So the idea here is to, when I submit a record here, I want to be able to see the same record in CRM as well directly without having to go ahead and add one more here. I just do it, submit one here. I want to see the same here as well, right? So that's the idea here. So let's go ahead and see how that is possible. So I'll just add a record here. So I'll call, okay, I'll add a new names. Felicia James. Okay. And I'll give the mobile number as, right, and the email as at zilka.com. So I'll submit it. So I'm expecting, once I've submitted, I'm expecting Felicia to be shown in CRM as well. So let's see if we've got that. See if she's available here somewhere. Yes. So Felicia is right here, right? So this is how we put the integration form into use. So you create a form here, you submit the record, and you push that to the other service as well using using integration forms. Okay, and this also gets you also have a report created with all of these forms, right? So you can also see that in the report. And one more information is here, because we've fetched all of this information, right? So it is ideally in the report, by default it will have only the last name, which is a mandatory field. So you can go ahead and add more field to it, more fields to it, like we do it in the normal way, right? So where is the CRM form? Just give me a minute. So I'll just edit this report, and I'm just trying to add some more field to this particular report. So I'll configure field, and I'll go ahead and add the other fields: first name, mobile, and email. So you can have the all of this information in your report, and your report is good to go. Yep. Now I have all of this information, right? It also gives me the new row, the new record that I added, Felicia James. Yeah. So this is pretty much with what you can do with the integration forms. I mean, how you can do integration forms, and you can certainly perform a lot more. You can go ahead and explore a lot to the all of the other opportunities or actions inside the integration form. So the next concept that we have with integration is integration task. So this is when we use the deluge builder. So here is the syntax of your integration task. And first you declare a variable. And if it's Zoho, you say, which service of Zoho that you're choosing, you give actions and parameters, right? These are some of the creators, Zoho integration tasks that you can perform for the Zoho applications like CRM, desk, or recruit, calendar, books, etc., right? And these are some of the commonly used tasks. So I can do the create record, I can get records, search, update, I can get record by ID. This is something we'll be using in the demonstration as well, the record by ID, because as I said, integration field is almost like a lookup field. And whenever there is a lookup concept, record ID plays an important role. So that is what will be used at the back end to fetch information, right? So we'll just use a couple of these commonly used integration tasks in a demonstration. Right. So here we have the values. How are we going to declare the values in our task? So we'll be declaring the values by map. by using a map data type. So this is a sample map. So map obviously will have the pair elements, which is a key and value, right? And this is how I've used a specific commonly, this is how I've used a specific task, which is nothing but a create record task. Yeah, I've declared a map variable, and then I've used this task, which is create record task, right? So let's just jump into the demo and see how we can do all of this. Okay, so I'll first go to this application that we've been using, and I'll edit this. And to start with, I'll go ahead and create a function first. Okay, so function is a separate option inside workflows. So I'll go here, I'll create a new function. I'll call this as create CRM, right? And I'll select language to be deluge, and the namespace, I'll just leave it as default. The return type, don't want anything. I'm just typing it, so I'll do it as void, and then I'll create a function. Right, so as soon as I've created a function, as we all know, the syntax will be automatically generated, right? So here is where I will be performing my here's where I'll be writing this piece of code. I'll be using this integration tasks. So now let's say I will go ahead and declare a map variable. I'll create a map first. Okay. Values map. I'll create a map. And I'll start giving the key elements, right? The pair elements, which is key value, right? So I'll be doing that by using this function called put. So put I'm using to add the key value pairs to specified map, right? So let's say, okay, so before I do this, there's one more element, one more thing that we should keep in mind with tasks. So with integration field, we were, the one thing that we need to be aware of was the, with integration forms, it was the mandatory field, right? So something similar to that, with integration tasks, it is always important to keep in mind that you will have to refer to something called key names or API names. Okay, so this is something which we need to have in mind whenever we want to go ahead and write a piece of code for integration task. So just keep that in mind, and I'll show you where I'm going to put that to use. Okay, so here I'm trying to give the values, right? So here I'm giving values to the map, like keys and values to the map, and I'll be creating some normal fields like your first name, last name, email, and phone. So this should be in line with CRM because we are integrating, right? So now coming back to CRM. So here, if I want to type the first name, I'll just show you first. If I want to type the first name here, if I want to specify the value for first name here, so let's say I'm specifying a value for the first name as Maria, okay? And here, there's something that I need to be doing. So I cannot just simply type the first name from here. So I should be referring to the key name or the API name, which is in line with the CRM. So that's when I go back to CRM. And there's something called in the CRM, within the settings, you see something called developer space. And inside that, you have APIs. So here you have API names. So this is where you go ahead and see the the API names for each of the modules as well as the fields inside these modules. So we've been looking at the contacts module. So if I go inside that, so this has a API name and the field label against it. Okay. So for the first name, the API name is this. However, what I've typed directly is something different. So that's why it's important to always keep in mind to refer to the key names or the API names. So I'll put that here. And similarly, I'll give values to the other, I'll give the other key and value. So this time let's do last name. So I'll take the last name from here and I'll give the value as Maria James. And let's say I am going to give the email dot put, and that will be email. So your email. So there's one more point. So even sometimes you will see the field label and the API name just the same, right? It's okay, it doesn't matter, but still we want to refer because sometimes it could be different also. Most of the times it will be different. For example, here in email opt output, you still see it's same, but then we have this underscore, right? So that's why it's always important to refer it. Even if it's the same, it's absolutely fine, but at least we've referred and we've got it right? So I'll go back and copy it, and I'll just give the email address as zilka.com. I'll terminate it with a semicolon. Now I'll go ahead and info this variable, and let's see what we get. Right? So it's just clearly bringing me this data that I just info. Right? So now I've just declared this variable. Now I'll be performing this integration task. For that, to the left side, you see something called Zoho integration. In the functions, you'll see something called Zoho integration. So I'll just drag and drop this, and I'll use this here to integrate it with the. So here I first declared this, and I have the next step is I should make the integration, and then I want to push this data to the CRM. So that's what I'm trying to do here. So I'll bring in integration here, and I'll declare all of my. I'll give values to the syntax, right? So here in the response variable, I'll say CRM response. And I'll select the service as Zoho CRM. Let's just go ahead and use some function. Let's say this time, let's go ahead and create this record, okay? And in the modules, I want to be choosing the module. Again, here, the module is something which should be in sync with CRM. So in the API name, just go back one step, and I get the API name of modules from here, and I put it here inside the string. And the data map, I'll choose the values map, the variable, user variable, right? So I'll be done with it. And I'll just go ahead and insert this. Right, so now I will want to info this CRM response. So I'll comment this out. I'll want to info the CRM response. And let's see the ideally once I've done that, I'll save it. I'm trying to push this to, by making this integration, I'm trying to push this to the CRMs. Let's see if Maria James is being pushed to the CRM or not. Like, so we've just done that. So I'll go back here to the contacts module. Let's see if she's available here somewhere. Yep, she's right there. Right, so this is the contact that we just created here using the integration task. Right, so this way you can put the integration task also into good use, and you can go ahead and add more records to CRM. Right, just a couple of more information from here. Meaning, so let's say now we all know that last name is the mandatory field, right? So let's say I am, just for an example, I am commenting this out. Also comment this out. I'm just trying to show you how important is to understand the mandatory field and all. So here, so I've just commented that out. I've saved it, and I'll execute it. But okay, but in the response, what we'll get is it'll just tell me mandatory field not found right away. Here, it'll just tell me that the mandatory field is not found, and the execution will be in error. We'll get an output error. So that's why it's always keen to keep all of these important things in mind when you are getting your hands on it, right? So this is something I just wanted to highlight. And also, now we know how to use integration field, integration form, even using integration task. We know how to push data from here to there, right? So now let's say based on the selected data in the form that we already have, which is the order form, we have this field called CRM contact field. Okay, so let's say based on that particular field, I want the other fields in the same form to be auto-populated. So how can I do that, right? So let's see how that can be done. So I'll close this, and I'll just go and I'll just show you before I do it. So in the orders form, we've already used this field, right? The CRM contact, which is an integration field. So now, for example, if I choose this particular integration field, I want to, based on this, I want the other fields, example, name and email address to be auto-populated. So how do I do that? Let's see how that can be achieved using the integration task. So for that, I'll first have to create a workflow based out of this form. So I'll go and create a new workflow. I'll choose it based on the order form. I want it to be on the record event of created. When do I want this to be done? Based on the user input, only when they choose it. So that's why I'm choosing this user input of a field. And which field? It's the CRM contact field, right? So I'll just name this as auto populate other fields. Right, it's always good to give some name which you can come back and refer, so it should just make sense when you come back and refer. Just by the name of it, if you understand, it'll be more easy, right? So I'm just saying auto populate other fields, right? So I'll create the workflow and I'll go ahead and add new action. Here, the first step, I'm into the builder, right? So here the first step is to get all the records from the order report, right? From the order forms, like all the records, for all the records I want to do it. Not specific to any record, just for all the records. So the first step is to get the records. Like as I mentioned, this is a lookup field, and so in the backend we will always refer to the record ID field, right? So I'm going to be using that specific function as a first step. So I'll declare a variable saying CRM response is equal to Zoho dot. I'm choosing the service to be CRM. And here I'm going to be using this function called get record by ID. And here I will declare the contact. It is asking me for the modules, right? So I'll give the module name, for which I'll again go back and refer it from here. I'll refer it from the API names. So this is the module, contacts module. I'll take this from here and I'll put it inside the string. And what I'll do is here, I'll bring in I'm using this word input because I'm referring to the field inside the main form, right? So which field? It's this field. And there's one more step that I will be doing here will be the too long function, right? I'll be using this just to convert everything into proper data. And then I'll go ahead and info CRM response. Let's see what we get. Right. So now if I go ahead and refresh this form in live, so we're not just done with it. Okay. So now what I can do is if I like choose a contact from here, just chosen something here. Just give me a minute while it gets loaded. I'll update and let me be done with it. Yep. So I'll choose a specific contact here. And once I've done that, so for whatever whatever piece of code that we've written, there's something that has happened. So I'll show you what has happened with this one. Okay. So when I've created it, so here you will see now if I choose a contact from here, at the end of the page, you'll see something called view log details. Right? So this will be accessible only for the admin and for the developer who's working on this one, right? So this is going to show me all of the records. That's because we've just told to get all the records by ID, right? So that's what has happened here. So from here, we'll go to the next step. Okay, next step will be is to parse in the details in order to auto-populate the data in the form fields. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so now what I'll do is I'll input dot name dot first name. What should the first name pick? So that's what I'm defining here. So I'll bring this variable dot. I'll use the get all function, like the get function. And here I will declare my key name of this one, right? Of this field. So that for which I'll go back to, refer the key name again, which is the first name back here, put it. And again, I'll do this for input dot name dot, let's do it for the last name. CRM response dot get off. I'll give the key for last name. Right? So these are the fields that I want to be auto-populated. So that's what I'm doing here. Email is equal to CRM response dot get off email. So I'll get this as well. Yep, email, and yep. Let's just be done with this. So now if I go to the form, I've added the step. And now if I choose a contact, now I've just chosen the contact and I have all of this information populated. I didn't write a code for phone. I'll just do that as well. For is equal to CRM response dot get off. Here I want it to be for the phone. So where's this phone? Okay, am I missing it somewhere? So I'm just looking the key name for phone. Yep, I've got it. Yep. Sorry, my bad. So I've just taken that key name here and I'll just be done with it. And be done here. Now if I refresh, so it should ideally just show me all of this information like Kepler. Yep, I'm just randomly picking any one of this. So yeah, here the format, it says the format is invalid. You can just type in any other proper number. So the idea is to just show that by choosing one of this CRM contact, all of this information are getting populated, right? In the previous step, we were seeing this, only this, but after writing this code, after inputting the code for each of this field, so the data is getting auto-populated, right? So this is how you can use the functions inside the tasks in integration tasks, and you can perform a lot of actions like you can auto-populate, you can search by record, you can do a lot of stuff using this functions. Okay, so this is pretty much what I have to talk about integration tasks. And if you have any questions, please keep them coming and we will have it answered for you. Yep. So this also brings us to the end of this particular session. So I'll just go on mute for a couple of minutes and I'll let you guys be. If you have any questions, please keep them, please post them in the group, in the questions tab here, and we will get it answered for you. Yep. And then we'll go on with the next session. Thank you. So hi all. I hope you're good with the session. I hope we can move on to the next session. But before that, I just thought I'll also share a quick reference link with regards to this integration task. So this link will have more information like what Zakaria was asking, right? So it will have a description for how you can you can explore more with the integration task. Not just this link, you can also use creator's website and you can go ahead and explore more. So I'll just be sharing this link just for your reference. I hope that helps. Yep. And then if you guys are good with this session, I can move on to the next one. Just looking for some reactions. Thank you. Thanks so much. Yes. Just allow me a minute while I move on to the next session.